There he is. Aaron Kelly, who is, could you all come closer? So much better. I'm told it would make a great photograph, actually. Thanks very much, thank you. May I introduce Aaron Kelly, who's going to play We Shall Overcome this year. Aaron is actually the son of Tommy Kelly, Bogside artist, so quite famous ballad. Okay.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome.
Thank you very much, Sharon. That was lovely. Thank you. Can I now introduce Damien Donaghy, who will read out the names of the dead and wounded. Damien is actually the son of, that's his father, Bubbles Donaghy. Bubbles actually survived Bloody Sunday. As you all know, he was badly wounded. So his son's going to read out the names of the dead and wounded.
Deceased: Gerald Donaghy, Patrick Paddy Doherty, John Jackie Dudley, Hugh Gilmore, Michael Kelly, Michael McDade, Kevin McElhinney, Bernard Barney McGuigan, Jared McKinney, William Woolley McKinney, William Nash, James Jim Ray, John Young, John Johnson. Wounded: deceased: Margaret Peggy Deary, Patrick Campbell, Daniel Gillespie, Pius McCarn, Daniel McGowan, Alex Ander Nash, Patrick Paddy O'Donnell, Patrick Brawley, Michael Bradley. Living wounded: Patrick McDade, Patsy, Damien Donaghy, Mickey Bridge, Alana Burke, Joseph Joe Frill, Joe Mahan, Michael Cohen.
I'm so sorry. That was Kieran. Kieran was our, I'm told to say flautist. I was saying flutist, but I'm so sorry I forgot. My excuse is I'm 76. Can I now introduce, oh sorry, I'm supposed to do a minute's silence. Here I go again. Please stand for a minute's silence. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce a young lady who's our first speaker. She's living here in Derry now, and she's opened a little business in Shipkey Street, a little cafe. I would suggest you go there. Food is delicious. But her name is Farah Kudane. She's a Palestinian writer, journalist and founder of Key 48 Return, a voluntary collective calling for the immediate right of return of over 7.4 million Palestinian refugees. Please give her a welcome.
I just wanted to start by saying what an honour it is to speak here today, protesting on the 53rd anniversary of Bloody Sunday, to be speaking alongside such strong Irish women like Kate and like Betty, and all of the incredible Bloody Sunday March Committee. Incredible Irish women, incredible Derry women, whose steadfastness, whose resilience will be the reason for justice, real justice for the victims of Bloody Sunday. Justice beyond the empty lip service, the performative, politicized settling accepted by parties like Sinn Féin, who'd rather marches like this one cease to exist to further their own capitalist establishment and pro-American imperialist agenda. I have only ever seen intersectional, inclusive, interconnected solidarity on this scale here at Bloody Sunday marches, where we have the families of Bloody Sunday victims standing hand in hand with those from Hillsborough, with those from Palestine, with those from anti-racist groups to feminist groups, to those from trade unions, with those from working class communities. This is the momentum, the unity, the people power that the ruling class, that now includes Sinn Féin, fear. They fear it, and this is exactly why marches like this must continue and why we must mobilize on this scale further. Over the past 15 months of this latest stage of intensified genocide by settlers to indigenous Palestinians, I've attended Palestine protests week after week, hearing the same politicians, the same speakers, all open their speeches with the same regurgitated lines condemning October 7th, condemning Palestinian resistance, and stating their cowardly support for a two-state solution. So I'll start my speech by unequivocally, wholeheartedly, and with every inch of my being supporting Palestinian resistance by any and all means. By any and all means necessary, and calling for the immediate dismantling of the Israeli settler colony and full decolonization of Palestine. I support Palestinian resistance by any and all means necessary. If you condemn October 7th, you would have condemned Algerians resisting French colonizers in the 1950s. You would have condemned the Easter Rising in 1916. You would have condemned South Africans resisting apartheid for the entire last century. The cowardly condemnations of October 7th have served as a prerequisite for this genocide. And I, for one, do not condemn October 7th. Palestinians broke out from a brutal siege and actively took their land back and liberated themselves. And that's what happened. And history will see it as exactly that. And history will remember those who believe the unsubstantiated lies of occupying settlers over the actual evidence of genocide from natives. Our calls condemning the Israeli settler colony must also include condemning the corrupt Palestinian Authority, the dictatorship that hasn't held an election in nearly 20 years, that works as subcontractors of the Israeli occupation, and is, as we speak, assisting the settlers in ethnically cleansing Palestinian resistance factions in Jenin. The PA, the Palestinian Authority, deserve equal condemnation. Let's also be clear about the fact that Palestine is not a charity case. It's a liberation struggle. It's an anti-colonial, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist struggle. Since the ceasefire, well, what ceasefire? The settlers have bombed Gaza this morning and have just bombed Jenin. Since this ceasefire 2 weeks ago, I have been asking myself the same question. How have we all watched a live stream genocide through our phones, TVs, laptops for 15 months? Watching Palestinian fathers trying to salvage their kids' body parts into plastic bags to be able to bury their children obliterated by Israeli airstrikes. Watching Palestinian mothers burying the only child, their only child, they spent years trying to conceive through IVF. Hearing 4-year-old Palestinian children telling us how they watched their pregnant Palestinian mother be shot dead by Israeli forces, shooting her stomach first. Watching 6-year-old Palestinian children like Hind Rajab be shot 355 times. And then it dawned on me, we've watched Palestine be violently colonized for 76 years. We normalize the violent colonization of America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. We normalize the violence of indigenous people that they face all around the world on a daily basis. We watch police routinely murder innocent people of color with impunity. From Chris Carver in Britain to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, and the thousands of others murdered by American police in the US. And when police across the world aren't disproportionately murdering people of color, they're suppressing our right to protest. They're impeding on our basic rights of protest, speech and assembly, whilst protecting the war criminals and genocide colluders in our governments. They're protecting the arms factories, creating bombs, beheading Palestinian babies. We just walk past yet another food bank is being set up. Another homeless person is on our streets. Whilst we've justified to ourselves it's okay for some to have several homes and for others to have no home at all. We will never own a house in our lifetime. We'll be lucky if we can afford a mortgage. We watch on as greedy corporations plunder our resources and continue to pollute and destroy our planet at an unprecedented rate. And now we're watching on as Donald Trump and the billionaire freak show that is Elon Musk collude in rounding up and kidnapping thousands of people of color across the US, placing them in shackles to detain them in Guantanamo Bay and deport them. If we live in a system that produces so much injustice, it's the system that needs to change, not single issues within it. If anything, the past 15 months have shown us the police do not protect us, our governments do not protect us, the United Nations do not protect us, the International Criminal Court, the ICC, will not protect us. It is us who protect us. Me, you, the people around you right now, we are all we have, and it's time to stand together. Palestine is not a single issue. A united Ireland isn't a single issue. All of our causes, struggles, our hardships are all interconnected. Just look at how many people there are here today. Then imagine our comrades from Black Lives Matter joining us. Women's rights, LGBTQ+ rights, Kurdish liberation movement, Palestinian liberation movement, justice for Sudan and Congo, workers, anti-fascists, all united, all of us mobilizing together. Now that's people power that can actually change things. Fascism is here, and petitions, call and email pickets, and 30-minute protests on the side of the pavement with the police's permission are not going to stop it. We know the means that will stop fascism, and we must not cast them aside any longer. Whilst millions around the world pay with their lives confronting the genocidal capitalist status quo, we owe them more than petitions and placards. We can choose to voluntarily rise up now and do the right thing and resist now, otherwise you'll be forced to do it later. Those are the options. When this genocidal capitalist status quo eventually comes after you and your loved ones too. We need to stop asking for permission. We don't need the police's permission, we don't need politicians' permission, or anyone's permission to do the right thing. We need complete system change everywhere. You cannot change a rotten system from within. The whole system has to be overthrown. If there is one thing to do after this protest, it's not to go and have a coffee or a pint. It's to network, speak with the people around you, the groups around you, connect, and let's build on today's momentum and plan the next steps. Organize direct action and use all means at our disposal. Fascism is here, genocides are happening, and the time is now. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Thawra Hatta Nasr, thank you.
Thank you for very powerful words. I think you'll agree. Our next speaker, of course, really needs no introduction. Emma McCann. That's okay.
I'll be all right.
You can help me next time.
I won't. I just heard Kate there saying, you know, that she forgets the odd thing because she said she was 76. Let me tell you something, she's only a ween. So she shouldn't be saying things like that. As, one of my oldest friends on this island is Michael D. Higgins. I met Michael D. when we were both students at a debate in Galway University. And he was a student at the same time as I was a student in Queen's University, Belfast. And I remember him speaking about freedom, speaking about where freedom was reflected in the literature of the time. Michael is a very educated man, so a very literary person. And when he talks sometimes, he talks very high. And he's been treated in an abominable way sort of over the past few weeks because he dared to mention Gaza in a commemoration of the Holocaust of the Jews. We are criticized all the time. We're told we are anti-Semitic because we stand by the Palestinian people We stand by the resistance in Israel. Let us not forget when we talk about the Middle East, that there are hundreds of thousands of Jewish people around the world who stand with us, who march with us, and to end the opprobrium and stand up to all the attacks that we will get. Let's stay in solidarity with the Jewish people who are fighting for the liberation of Palestine. Let us also keep in mind that we are standing on holy ground. We're standing on the ground right in front of the slogan, "You're now entering free Derry." I remember the night that was painted on the wall. I was standing just down there. The slogan, "You're now entering free Derry," is not a narrow slogan. It is not a local Derry slogan. We took it from a student revolution in the United States. That went up in the memory of the same words as we saw in Berkeley, California, in the free speech movement by students and black people in the United States. And they had, "You are now entering free Berkeley," outside the entrance to Berkeley University. That's where we took it from. We took an American slogan and put it up there to represent the fight for democracy and the fight for freedom around the world. I last saw this slogan on the wall at the outside of a Palestinian refugee camp in Lebanon. In Arabic, of course, I can't really repeat it, but there it was. From California to Derry, to a Palestinian camp, and back again to the Palestinian revolution, and repeatedly ever since. So the slogan, "You're now entering free Derry," means you're now entering a region where everybody fights for freedom, where everybody believes in freedom, where we don't just write it in walls, but we write it in the walls of history. That's what this slogan means, and that's what we must give out. I mentioned Michael D. Higgins a few minutes ago. And they said Michael D. was a friend of mine. I don't have very many presidential friends, and I don't usually praise presidents. It goes against the grain. My heart revolts against it. I make a difference for Michael D. He stood up for the Palestinian people despite all the slander and libels around him, done by people, including politicians and newspapers in Dublin. Shame on them. Shame on them. I also say this about Michael D. I was talking to Michael D. years ago about the Middle East and Palestine. And we're talking about the attitude of the Israeli state towards the Palestinian people. And one of them said, I won't say well it will show for Michael D. He said the Israeli state should be told to fuck off. That's the way we should approach it. That's the way you deal with fascists. Now let me say this as well. You know, sort of like when we stand here, we stand with other people who are fighting against militarism, against the arms trade, and let's remember, we stood out in this town, there was a small number of people, against Raytheon being in Derry. Raytheon who made bombs to be dropped on the Arab people. And then let us not forget either that we had a movement against Raytheon. They wanted Raytheon kicked out of Derry. When it arose, not a single party represented in a corporation or representing Derry in any parliament or assembly, not a single one of them, not one, spoke up to get Raytheon out of Derry. It took people who were powerless, people who were simply campaigners, to get together. And after a campaign lasting 3 years, we did it. We chased Raytheon out of Derry. Derry should be proud of that. We don't have Raytheon here. Let us also pay tribute to the other groups sort of around these islands who have fought against the persecution of the Palestinian people. At the moment, there are 18 people in prison in London. There are people from around Bristol. They represent the Flinton 18 students. They're in there for 15 months. 15 months in jail. Some of them in solitary confinement. Some of them have been strip searched. They did it simply, not out of violence. None of them lifted a fist or a hand against anybody. They just protested in solidarity with the Palestinian people. You know, so there are people commit crimes of considerable magnitude. And they go through the court proceeding. They don't get 15 months. They are not strip searched, but they do it to our comrades who stand for peace and equality around the world. We must stand against that. And in Dublin, we had Sarah Seal, a young woman who was so extreme. is that she cooked in her hand in washable paint and stuck it on the wall of the Department of Foreign Affairs. Just the imprint behind. She's in prison. She's in prison. She's been stripped searched in prison. What sort of grotesque society do we live in when a woman who stands sort of protest against that is stripped searched in prison and still comes out and is still strong and is still standing up? We should send our greetings to her. We send our greetings to everybody who represents the Palestinian people. And every now and again, a cause comes, sort of which should unite the whole world. In the 1930s, before my time, it was the Spanish Civil War. And we had people leave these shores. They go and fight for the Spanish Republic against the fascists, the Catholic fascists of Franco. That sort of people fighting against the Vietnam War. Spain, Vietnam, well now is Palestine. Palestine is the front line of the world. Anybody who stands for freedom anywhere must stand with the Palestinian people. So we must stay here until the Palestinian people are free. Not because we're being sentimental and charitable about people somewhere else, but because it's for us too. Freedom does not be bound by boundaries. If we are not free, nobody's free. If the Palestinians are not free, and the Palestinian people are free, none of us is free. Because if we collude to the persecution of the Palestinian people, then we are renouncing our own commitment to freedom. We will lose. We'll be the losers if Palestine loses. We'll be the winners of Palestine actually wins. That's what we have to concentrate on. We have to concentrate on the fact that we are not a small group. We're not a small enemy, but we are not a small faction here in Ireland. We represent a huge movement that's happening around the world. In every continent in the world, there are people on the streets that are fighting for the Palestinian people. We're fighting for the Palestinian people because we remember injustice, because we can see injustice elsewhere. We are all Palestinians when it comes to this fight against oppression and against colonialism. So we've got to stay strong. We've got to stay strong. We've got to keep it. And remember, when we look at that wall behind us, what really made the difference in this country was not the rattle of machine guns or people making eloquent speeches in parliaments. It was the sound of marching feet coming from the masses of the people. That's what it is. That's how we make advances. And that's what we must go back to again. Free Palestine. And through freeing Palestine, free ourselves. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're almost finished. I know you're probably dying to get off to pubs and so on and so forth. But I just wanted to say thank you to, my heart was bursting today looking at that march passing by, because I know I can't actually walk at all. So I stood and watched it pass, in Creggan, and it was magnificent. I was so proud of everybody that was here. I know we have people here, would you believe, from Vatican City, other parts of Italy. We have people from France, Spain, Scotland, big Scottish contingent. They're great supporters. But we have people from Turkey, I believe, as well. We have people from all over the world. America, that's terrific. Thank you so much for traveling this distance. And I hope it was to see only this. It's so important. Thank you to Tommy McGlinchey, who provides this stage for us every year. An absolute gentleman. By the way, it doesn't charge us. It is free. But thank you so much, Tommy. Thank you to Sandino's, who actually provided the venue and the staff and stuff for our fundraiser the other night. We were treated so nicely, and we did rather well actually too. As you know, we don't take funding from any dodgy characters, so we really don't. We have to pay. But there's a lot of great campaigners out here, Stafford Scott, you know, here in Chapel, the Ballymurphy families, these are all Palestinian groups. I know you're there. Eileen, who's a beautiful singer. But I just wanted one little thing I wanted you to know. We actually enlisted the help of three younger people this year to help us in the committee, you know, because some of us are getting a bit old, you know. So, but they proved to be terrific, and I hope you welcome them as much as you've always welcomed us. You know, they're terrific. But I think I've thanked everybody. There is hospitality in the 720 and Sandino's, who are always very good about that. So please go there if you're looking for a nice pub and something warm to eat. Here in Carolyn will now play the national anthem. Thank you.